What we do here is go back.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Promised Land podcast. This is Czar from Chinderi Beats.
And I'm John from Oh My, It's John. Today we're gonna talk with one of our closest friends. He says he's not a comic book expert, but he's the comic newbie. Let's welcome to the show Willie Chan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm very glad to be here in the podcast again.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you into this show
For what? A month now? You're so busy.
I know, I mean, this is like the third attempt. I think we had several game days, and I think this is the final one that we finally nailed it down. So yeah, again, happy to be here, man.
Yeah, as you previously have listened to one of our episodes before.
Yeah, the Batman.
The bot mod.
Not the bot.
The bot mod.
No, the Batman podcast. He was one of our commentators there. Again, Willie Chan from Comicnewbies.
Uh-huh. And also, he actually owns a blog, a comic book blog, which is comicnewbies.com. You guys should check it out after listening to this episode. They have tons of info there about certain episodes of episodes. What the fuck? Certain
What do you call them? Exactly?
Issues?
I don't know. I just mostly blog about the comics that I read, or about any common questions like, is Wolverine dead? Is Cyclops right? Which he is.
You're really pushing that agenda.
Hey man, Cyclops was right. End story.
Yeah. So again, go check out Comic Newbies after you listen to this episode. Also, guys, that Batman episode really riled up our interest into interviewing other people. And we want to start with Willie Chan in this one. So we have a few questions for Willie, dude. So I think Czar has one important question right now. So take the floor, man.
Okay, well, of course, Willie, you're running a comic book blog.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to know exactly what made you interested with comic books. What started you with comic books exactly?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint an exact time, but like everyone else here, I'm familiar with the comic heroes from DC and Marvel from a young age. I mean, come on, everyone knows who Batman is or who Spider-Man is, right? But I guess early 2007 or 6, I've got into the habit of reading the actual comics, not just not just knowing about the heroes from the TV series like the Spider-Man or the Fox X-Men comics. And I mean, it's like you're discovering the root source of everything. I mean, you're finally learning, this is why the comic series did this, because it's like a reference, or they're paying homage to they said it right? Homage?
Yeah, homage.
Yeah, homage to the actual story arc from the comic. So that was cool. I mean, it's like you're reading the stuff before anyone gets to it. You're kind of like the annoying kid on YouTube where it says first.
Do you remember a specific issue though that?
Oh, wait. Before we continue on, just want to acknowledge that we're actually in one of the productions crib here. We're recording on
Khalid's house.
Khalid's house.
Yes.
So, and we have the other people from that Batman episode here as well. We have Renz, we have AIDS.
We're actually having a game day right now, and we decided to finally talk to Willie and get him on this on the show.
Yep. And so we have Adrian from the
from Pinoy PS.
Pinoy PS. Yes. So
he's actually playing Persona 5 right now.
Yeah, I actually want to.
2 days ahead of the release.
John is like dying to get this game.
But anyway, let's get back to Willie. So sorry, any new questions?
Oh yeah. So I was asking earlier, is there a specific issue or a specific comic book or graphic novel that sparked your interest?
Okay, I think the earliest or the one that what makes the strongest impression to me was well, before I read the series, I actually Googled and found a wiki page for this series where it just listed all of the quotes or snarky or cool quotes from the series, and that got me interested. And then I started reading the series, and this is the New Avengers from Bendis. Michael Bolton. Yeah, it went the distance, you know.
What's special about the New Avengers?
Well, this is a team comprised of old guards from the New Avengers like Captain America, Iron Man, and they added a mix of new blood like Luke Cage, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. So just seeing the interactions between these guys. Well, first on that quote page, Spider-Man was being this comedy guy, and then Luke Cage and Wolverine was shutting him down at every opportunity. And I was actually reading this quote while at work. You have to pass the time while waiting for calls to come in.
Yeah.
So I remember laughing at a bunch of these quotes, and then I decided that maybe I should read this series. And I'm gonna be one of the few people who would say that Bendis did not disappoint. So it was fun. It was a good intro for me for the comic book world.
Well, being interested in comics is one thing, and starting a comic book blog is another. What made you decide to start Comicnewbies?
I'd say it started first, with social media, with Facebook. I will be reading a few comics during the comic book day, which is Wednesday here, and I'd be reading something, and the story or the graphics, or particularly just a big moment where it would just all coalesce together. It's just like, whoa, shit, this is cool. Even if it's someone isn't who doesn't read comics, or just casual fans, or some of my friends will be counted as casual fans. I get this urge to share this with them. It's like, dude, did you know this happened? Or so I'd be posting screenshots of these moments where, maybe just a big splash page of something good that's happening, or just the art really just will be sticking to me. And I'm not an artistic person. I mean, I can't draw, but I know what good art is, or what a good drawing is, and then I'd be really eager to share this with my friends. And then at one point, I was just sharing so much on Facebook, and I just thought, maybe I should have just post it somewhere so I could share it with everybody else. I mean, I figured some people would love to see this as well.
I've been to your blog, and
thanks.
I've
been to your blog.
I've been to your blog, and I've seen your posts, and I saw that you also write articles aside from posting the usual awesome panels that you encounter while reading these comic books. You also write articles, and you have this one article about Cyclops. To be honest, I'm not in the know. So I'm not in the know when it comes to a lot of these Marvel lore, but I found the article interesting. Can you tell us more about that one?
I'm a Cyclops fan, and Marvel had an event called Avengers versus X-Men. This was back in I think 2012 or 2013. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I had a few tonight, so
yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Everyone had a few tonight, so
Yes.
I'm not good with dates. But Marvel had this event, Avengers versus X-Men, and I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but one piece of it was that Cyclops came off looking like the bad guy, and a lot of people will dispute this, but initially, at first, I thought Avengers vs. X-Men was a bad event, but after some reflections, it actually got a lot of people talking. It actually divided people into two sides. And to my knowledge, the last time that Marvel was able to do that was in Civil War. And, it was just interesting. I mean, usually when companies try to tell you who the bad guys are and who the good guys are or who to root for, it doesn't always end in the best way. I mean, there will be a lot of smart or snarky fans who would purposely choose, the bad guys to root for. But AVX was one of the few that really truly divided the fan base into two camps. One was pro Avengers and one was pro X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading that. After reading that, I was reading through the message boards, and I saw a lot of good discussions about who was in the right, or why Cyclops was wrong in making the decisions that he did. And one of the fun parts for me was actually doing the research and writing point by point why I think Cyclops was right. And, anyone who reads that article could come off thinking or could come up their own arguments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, come on, it's comics, right?
Yes.
And we're actually doing hopefully civilized debates
Of course.
about it and doing research. And I think that aspect is really cool, right?
Definitely.
So I thought that when I wrote that article, it's just like just compiling all of these arguments and just making my own counter argument. And if someone ever writes a Comic Newbies article is wrong, then I welcome it, because a good discussion backed by valid points and evidence is always a good thing.
I mentioned this article because I mentioned this specific article because this got shared. Some people who apparently shares similar viewpoints as you have used this article in their arguments.
Oh yeah.
how does it feel for your article to be used as a reference for these debates?
As a writer, I mean, you don't have to say it. I mean, it feels good when it feels good when someone tells you that the thing you wrote is good. But it's one thing to actually to use it as evidence or a counter argument in a debate. It's like, man, it's like a extra point validation, right?
Definitely.
I mean, as a writer, it feels good. As a Cyclops fan, it's even better.
I'll definitely put a link in the description for this article. Oh, John, you have a question for Willie?
Yeah, Willie, who are you? If you're not in the Comic Newbies phase of yourself, what do you do outside Comic Newbies? Let's not talk about work. Let's talk about what other hobbies. Yeah.
Drinks a lot.
That he definitely does.
Hey man, I had my APE 2 weeks ago. It was a funny story. I mean, the doctor was asking me, the usual questions, and we got to the part where do you smoke? No. Do you drink? Yes. And then he gave me the stare, right? Like, okay, it's on. So, okay, how many times in a week do you drink? And I'm thinking, only when someone asks me to. So maybe
if someone asks you every day,
I'll be a good friend and say yeah.
Well, outside of
But no, sorry. So let me just finish it. So I just say I went with a safe answer. So 3 times a week, and that's being generous at this point. Actually, that's being generous. And he says, "Oh, okay. How many bottles?" No, wait. He said, "Hard or beer? Beer. How many bottles?" Again, depends who I'm drinking with. Maybe 3 or 4. So he did the math and everything's like, and I'm thinking, is this doctor asking me to drink? I mean, those are the questions you ask people.
Definitely.
Right, Doc, inom ba tayo?
Well, aside from drinking and doing your comic book blog, do you have any other hobbies or interests?
Skyrim.
And what about Pokemon Go? This is a Pokemon master right here.
Hey, I made a vow, man. When I said I want to be the very best, I meant.
Also, Willie, I know from before when we were actually Willie, me and Zar were working for the same company before.
Yeah, we were co-workers.
Yeah, we're co-workers, and even back then, actually, the very first time I talked with Willie, I didn't talk about comics like the DC and Marvel stuff. I talked to him about Star Wars.
Oh, you activated my trap card.
Yeah, so
That's another side to Willie.
yeah, Willie's actually a big fan of the Star Wars. What do you call it now? It's not Star Wars universe.
Well, let me just clarify. I mean, I like the movies, but I'm more of a Star Wars expanded universe fan. But they're calling it Legends.
Non-canon.
Is it non-canon or is it
Can I say-
legends within the canon?
Can I do the F bomb? F Disney.
Yeah.
Alright.
Fuck Disney.
Actually, I'm with Willie on that one.
With the
Yeah.
with them.
Why
Disregarding
the,
the EU.
why the fuck did you call him Ben?
I'm
That's the
Ben?
problem.
I'm Ben.
like, that's why Kylo Ren was so angry.
That's why he's so pissed.
Because he
I
wasn't-
think any child will be not well adjusted if you have Han Solo as a father. Just I mean, not to knock him off as a father, but everyone kind of saw it coming.
Yeah. It's just a big thing that you're the son of Han Solo and the twin sister of the current Jedi Master, Grandmaster, if you may. So I think it's not a long shot if we're gonna call the son of those two a weird, fucked up person.
Yeah. I guess a lot of things complicated his childhood, especially since we're talking about Kylo Ren right now.
Yeah,
by the way.
Kylo Ren.
And I think a lot of things may have complicated his childhood. Him being the son of this the greatest smuggler ever.
Yeah, the greatest smuggler ever.
And I guess the figurehead of the Rebel Alliance.
I mean, just imagine Kylo Ren. I mean, trying to act out. I mean, he can't be the best good kid because you have Leia as a role model, and then when he tries to act out and do illegal stuff, and who are you gonna be? Your father?
Oh,
He's screwed either way.
Yeah.
by the way, just going back to Willie's Star Wars. This Willie of this side of Willie, where he's a Star Wars fan. I believe you're also an admin for this wiki site. If I'm not mistaken.
No.
What are
No, I'm
It's
not.
a-
I'm not an admin. I'm just a used to be.
You used to be a contributor.
Yeah,
to,
I used to be a contributor to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Yeah.
Also-
It's like this repository of
Star Wars.
It's
Star
like
Wars
the
stuff.
wiki page for Star Wars, and the great thing about it is that a lot of actors who stars in Star Wars films or series actually use that site to do their own research before before Disney happened.
Also, Willie started something on Facebook. It's a local page named it started when The Force Awakens
the
started.
Force Awakens movie.
The seventh installment of the movie franchise. He started the Force Discussion Facebook page. It's supposed to be a page for those who have seen the seventh film, and suddenly we don't know who's posting in it anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't just me actually. A bunch of us also wanted to talk about The Force Awakens when it came out.
Without being a spoiler to everyone on Facebook, so that's why
Yeah.
we made
It's like a
Facebook
closed
page.
group.
Yeah, it's a closed
page.
group, and then the general rule is that if you're a friend of a friend of a friend, or I invite my friend, and that friend thinks their other friend will be a good part to the group. It's not an ass, and our rules are very relaxed. So now, since we're just waiting for the next Star Wars films, it's just a Facebook page full of memes and jokes. But it's a great place for discussion and theories when the next Star Wars comes.
And it grew so big. It grew so
Yeah,
out of hand.
It took
when
a life
comes-
of its own.
Yeah, and right now we don't even
Took on a
need to
life
post
of its own.
anything, and it just exists without us, the people who started the Facebook page. And suddenly, it's so good to see the community thrive in that. And also, it's good to know that one of our friends, one of our very own, which is Willie, is the person who started that Facebook page, that community. And I think after the next movies shown, that community will grow bigger.
It's
again.
probably gonna go bigger.
Like,
yeah,
seriously.
I mean it's fun. It's fun. I mean we don't actually have to do a lot of admin or modding because
Exactly.
it's like a friend.
A lot of the
everyone.
people
It's
are
like all of the people are like friends
civil.
of a friend, civil, and like everybody automatically knows what the rules are. And just a disclaimer. I don't even remember if I was actually the one who started that
Yeah,
group.
you started that group.
I did?
Yeah, you invited.
I invited a
me,
lot of people.
Obs, Aubrey, Czar. Who else?
I know. I mean, I invited a lot of
A lot of
people,
people.
but I
Earl.
don't remember if I actually was the one who created that group. But it's been 2 years.
It's
You know,
been,
I can-
it's been 2 years.
It's 2 years. I can remember.
Relating this to Comic Newbies, your comic book blog, do you also cover Star Wars comic books? And, well, in general, what comic books do you usually cover there?
Mostly just Marvel and DC, and then I'm trying to branch out to other comics that I read. I also have
Kubo
Walking
Rafiki.
Dead. I actually started posting few Star Wars until Disney happened.
Oh,
But I've been planning on I'm planning on posting a few or starting posting about Star Wars Legacy. That's actually like 150 years set in the future after Return of the Jedi, and it's a great series. It's spanned 50 issues, and it tells the tale about Cade Skywalker, a descendant of Luke Skywalker, and he's a drug addict.
oh, okay, that's a good spin to it.
Yes, and
It's
it's,
like
a great.
Is it like a dark story?
It is, but it still managed to retain the quintessential parts of what made Star Wars, and not. I mean, it did a better job of doing that than the prequel trilogy.
Also, Willie, do you plan on covering like local comic books as well? I remember today's the Comic Con here in the Philippines. Do you plan on? Have you or are you a fan of any local comics?
Yes, but actually, I have to admit, I'm very limited in the local comics. I read Berkada by Lyndon Gregorio.
Brigad is the best.
Dude, I have all of these books, and I actually have him
Brigad is
sign
the
a
fucking
few.
best.
Dude, he actually signed my name wrong, and it was funny.
That was really fun.
It was probably
Kiko
drunk or
Machine.
something.
I have
I have a lot of Kiko Machine comics.
I have 2 Kiko Machine books, but I only own. I haven't finished it yet. What else? Trece.
Trece.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's the first local book that I actually pre-ordered because.
The art style of Trece is insanely good.
And I'm a big fan of the local mythology. I mean, I grew up reading the local comics like Salamin, Aswang,
Aswang.
and whatever. And then that's where I got all my local lore. And just to see that modernized. I mean, where can you see manananggals with machine guns? I mean,
Yeah, so and
that was.
the two capres that Treces with, that was so awesome with their masks. And
I don't think they're capres.
Are they what? Are they what?
They're the kids of a elemental or a datu war god.
War god. And those two have like swords or something. That's so awesome.
Dual barretas
Dual
or
barretas.
dual handguns.
Trece
But
also-
they're cool as fuck as
Like-
well. Oh, sorry, drop the F bomb again.
and Trece is
fine.
like a half demon, right?
No, Tress is pure human.
Why does Why does she have these horns in some episodes? I think she's starting to manifest. I have that book. I'm gonna share it with you guys.
Wait, there's a new Tress book that I'm not aware about.
I'm gonna. I think it's one of the earlier things. Trece was shown with horns in one of the one of the issues back there when she was in the club, her own club.
Diablo something.
Diablo is something. I think Trece is a descendant of an awesome
Seer, or yeah, but I don't think they have any demon blood.
I'm gonna reread that book because Tres is actually one of the books that's fucking inspired. Another comics is the Kubori right now. It's getting traction. And I think we should talk about it
in a different episode.
Okay, so Willie, in the personal term, do you have any significant other that we should say?
You're trying to put a date on this? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it happened, but yes, I'm with someone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is she a fan of like
Comic
comic
books
books
as
as well?
She knows the people, but she doesn't read comics. But it's okay. I mean,
Of course, you gotta have different interests.
yeah, definitely.
Right? Well, say for example, I want to start. I want to get started in the comic book hobby, like start collecting comic books maybe, or start reading comic books. Can you give me a good starting point?
Okay. Well, this is gonna be very biased answer.
Black Vortex.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Is that hentai Ace? I'm gonna advise go with DC. They're really churning out some good works right now under the Rebirth brand. I'd say you could start with Batman if you don't want to dig a little deeper on the background. It's just straight out fun. Superman is also doing a great job. I mean, they had some issues with the previous stories, but with Rebirth, they managed to capture that sweet spot with the Man of Steel. Personal favorite, Nightwing, of course. I'm a Nightwing fanboy, so. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna advise. Oh wait, Red Hood and the Outlaws. That's just. It's not Dick. That's Jason Todd. But Red Hood and the Outlaws is like a good spin on the traditional superhero story. So those will be my top 3 picks.
Sorry,
right now.
Jason Todd is the best Robin for me. No,
Jason
For
Todd
me,
is,
for me.
Red Hood. Well,
Here's a crowbar.
no, don't beat my Robin.
Well, you've been doing the comic book blog for a long time now. Where do you see the? Where
Are
do
we
you see
doing
your
that
blog?
10 years from now?
No. Where
It's
do
like
you
a
see your
10-year
blog-
plan.
I just want to ask, where do you see your blog going in the next few years? Like, do you have any
Long-term goals?
do you have any goals for it? Do you plan on doing anything new with the blog?
Right now, I'm not much of a planner. I mean, when I started the blog, to answer actually one of your previous questions, another reason why I started the blog is because one of my coworkers just asked me this question that I've been hearing a lot of times back then. Was why is Green Lantern black? And
New Justice League.
yeah, I mean, you can tell that was because of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series, and I explained that to her, I explained that to a lot of friends, and she was just kind of like the last straw for me. It's like, oh, I'm getting tired of explaining this shit. I actually just wrote an explanation why John Stewart was a Green Lantern featured in Justice League Unlimited, and there's actually, at that time, there were 4 human Green Lanterns. Mm-hmm. Now there's 6. And yeah, Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Simon Bass, Jessica Cruz. So
humans are in the races, humans have the most number of Green Lanterns?
At a given time, yes. There's 6 human Green Lanterns running around in the universe.
Crazy.
I think we should have
I know
those guys.
I know the perfect guy to join us in this podcast if we were gonna do a Green Lantern one.
So
going back. So yeah, I got tired of explaining that thing, and I just figured that there were a lot of other minor comic questions that I wanted to put in writing, And when someone asks, I could just give them this links, like a kind of like an FAQ. So that's another one of the reasons why I started the blog. So
it's for comic newbies.
yes, like me. I mean, people keep saying that I'm like an expert, and no, because I actually haven't read a lot of the older stuff. I mean, Infinity War, the movie, is coming out maybe next year, I think. And I haven't actually even read Infinity Gauntlet. So I'm gonna have to add that to the list soon. But there's just a lot of material to cover. It's just fun diving into them. So seeing the blog coming in 10 years, I don't know. But right now, I'm just having fun.
Okay, so yeah,
I'd like to throw in one final question.
this is Adrian from Pinoy PS.
Yeah, this is Adrian hijacking the scene. Alright, so Willie, I'd like to ask, what makes Cyclops right?
In relative to
To everything
in
that's
100
happening,
words,
in 100 words or less, why is Cyclops right?
all of the decisions that he made were for the survival of the mutant race. And this is a team that's been persecuted by humans, superhumans, other mutants, celestial beings, and they still managed to do the rule about not killing anyone until, House of M, where he got desperate. But this is a team that got handed the worst card or worst hand imaginable, and they're still doing the right thing with Cyclops at the helm.
Okay, so that was awesome. That's 100 words, and it was less than 100 words. So he actually, I was fucking counting it.
I'm doing the Randy Orton post right now.
Yeah, it's at 74 words. That was amazing.
Well, John, do you have a closing question?
Yeah. So Willie, what's your closing remark, or what do you want to say to those guys who want to start something but don't know how to start them? Just give them a general idea, because I think in this niche that you're in a comic book thing or industry, yeah. Again, Zar mentioned earlier that you have been referenced at Reddit and stuff, and people were awed that you accomplished something big. That's something big, being a reference to a discussion. So, what can you say to those people who want to start something else? Do it.
But I have this vice where I like to start projects big. I have this full of energy, and then after a few months or a few weeks, I'd lose steam, and then it's just gonna be one of those things that I, kind of like in my shame closet where I keep telling myself or keep telling everyone that I'm gonna continue it, but I don't. But it's just if you really want to start or succeed on something, the best rule that I could tell you is just keep doing it even if you don't feel like it. I mean, I have days where I just don't feel like posting, even though I like comics. I mean, I would love read it, but having to post and write about it feels like going to work. Right? But you just have to keep doing it. I mean, that's the main thing that's gonna separate you from the others. You could just start small, like just do just one thing that works towards that goal, and then keep building at it. Start, bit by bit. But I think I know I can't express it, but just do it. Yeah.
Just do it.
Basically,
Just do it.
if you love something with all of your heart that you really want to do it, just do it.
I mean, it's something that I like, but there will be days that I will hate it, and that's natural. And at that point, you just gotta tell yourself, I mean, do I want to continue or not? And only one of those choices will bring you one step closer to your goal, which in this case I would assume is
To succeed.
succeed or be at a better place.
Awesome. That was a really awesome thing to say.
It's a very real thing to
It's
say.
a
I mean, you
Very
guys
good.
do podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the early stages, and I'm not sure if you've hit that wall yet, where
Trust me.
Yeah, there were times.
There were times.
There were times.
But the thing is, just as Willie said, if you want to succeed at something, there will be days where you just don't want to do things, you know. But just push yourself and just do it.
I think the key word is discipline, but I feel weird saying that because I'm like the worst guy to say it. But at the end of the day, do or do not.
There is no try.
Exactly.
Yoda. Okay, so guys, again, thank you for listening to this episode. Again, we have Willie here from Comic Newbies. Do check out his site, comicnewbies.com. Also, we have our socials on Facebook. Do check facebook.com/promisedandpod. Also, we have Twitter, Promise and Pod. Also, do subscribe if you like to know more about future episodes. Also, hit that bell button so you'd know if we have new content out. You'd get notified and be part of our notification squad. Also,
Well, Willie, thank you very much for joining us today.
I'm glad we finally nailed it. Third time's a charm, right?
Maybe you should invite
this
our
cough.
listeners to
Yeah.
to go to your blog.
I have a blog, comicnewbies.com. You could just type that as you spell it. There's also a Facebook page. I would very much like if you hit the like button. I'm just currently at 600, which is a great milestone.
no, that's a lot, man.
That's a
That's a
lot,
lot.
definitely.
Well, I'm not a big hitter, but it's a side hobby, and I'm glad that it's gaining traction. And if you guys want me to come back here, you know the drill. Just like what happened today, just fly me a lot of beers, and I'll be here.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, again, thank you for listening to this episode. And as always, do listen to the next.
Wait. Can I do the closing?
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
it.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening.